So, a constant issue I see in young people nowadays, and even in adults too, is the term that's used a lot. You could use many terms probably to describe this, but the best thing to describe it is overthinking. You think too much about many, many different things that can happen tomorrow, things can happen in 5 weeks' time, etc. You worry about too much at once, I suppose. You worry about everything, what can happen in the next 5 minutes, etc., etc. And I have to admit, I'm somebody that does that a lot, and have been for a long, long time. And to be totally honest, and I think everybody who experiences this, and to an extent everybody does it at some stage of their life. Some people, obviously people like me and other things that have anxiety and stuff like that, would experience it a lot more, take for example. And it's something that's very prevalent, particularly in young people. I see, particularly now, there's a lot of overtaking about different things, particularly in the age of social media too. Social media does have a factor. Overtaking things that you see on social media, stuff like that, it happens all the time. It's more common than probably it was years ago, take for example. And it's important that people do sit down, like I'm doing here, and talk about it and discuss it, because that's the only way. Because talking, as a teacher that I used to have at school, I used to be vice principal, said a problem shared is a problem halved. And it's true. It's true. A problem shared is a problem halved. It takes a lot more strain off you. It feels like the weight has been lifted, and that's what people do need to do in society. We need a lot more discussion. We need a lot more talk. We do need a lot more talk, even just about even the weather. Just the society that we live in nowadays, we're afraid to talk, etc., etc. But overtaking, the put it simply, everybody will know. Anybody who knows about it would know that it's senseless. It's senseless worrying about what can happen tomorrow in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, doing things, different things, worrying about it, worrying about this, worrying about that. It does no good. It causes more harm to you. It causes more stress, and being under stress is not good for the human body, etc., etc. Now, obviously, you can't go through life without having stress day to day and things like that. But trying to reduce stress is the most important thing. And the one thing I would say to people is get exercise. Exercise is good for the mind. It gets the hormones going. There's a good nerve. It gets good nerves in your brains going. And it's important. Fresh air is the best medicine. It is truly the best medicine. No medicine that doctor can give you is better than fresh air, being out in the open, outside for a walk, nice peaceful environment. It's the best medicine ever. It is really, really the best medicine. But my main advice here, and overthinking and stuff like that, and I do it a lot, particularly when I was younger. I was very, 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 very bad with this, worrying about tomorrow and worrying about what can happen. Still to this day I worry about different things, but not to the extent as I used to, which is a good thing, because it can be you could take chunks out of it. That's what I'm saying. In some cases, like myself, you probably will always still have a bit of it, but you can learn how to manage it, and that's the most important thing. As I say, walks, being out in the open, relaxing, getting relaxed is mainly the best thing, and even just getting physical exercise and stuff. That it's good for the brain, it's good for the mind, and that's what this is to do with the mind, and it's important. It is important, but the main thing is, if you suffer with overtaking and stuff like that, only taking. I know it sounds stupid. Even when I was younger, it sounds stupid, but when you really put your mind and you put your focus on it, just focused on here and now, where I am at the moment. Focus on the here and now. Don't worry about what's going to happen in 5 hours time or something like that. Don't worry, but focus on here and now. Focus on what you're doing at the present moment, and worry in the next 10 seconds what you'll be doing in the next 10 seconds. Focus on here and now, because that puts a focus in your mind, that you're focused on what's in front of you, what's there right in front of you, what you're doing. Instead of worrying about what could happen in the next 5 hours, taking to that neglect and thinking what could happen next week, and doing this or doing that or doing the other, it's too much strain on the human mind. The human mind's only able to have too much, to process so much. We're not like a computer or a high-tech computer or stuff like that. We can only process so much at a time, and the same with, so it adds into the social media age. There's too much in front of us at once, and it's a common issue with young people. There's too much. If you scroll TikTok or Twitter or Facebook, there's too much being presented to you about many different things. One article could be about football, one article could be about gymnastics, something else could be about politics, something else could be about this, that, the other thing, this, that, the other, and it's overwhelming for the mind. It does take an effect on the mind, because it's hard for your brain to see the image and see what it's written, to process it, because it takes time for your brain to process it. It goes to your mind to process what's being said and to acknowledge it and to go through. It does take time, and with too much information, it can over stress you, overload you, I suppose, in a way, like a computer. But the most important thing is just to focus on here and now, and worry about it, and just to be focused, not to think about anything. Just focus on what you're doing. Say if you're taking out the bins, I know it's such a random thing, but taking out the bins, just focus on taking out the bin, and don't worry about anything else after that. And then if you're, say, your next thing after that, if you're doing your house chores or something like that, you're sweeping the floor in the kitchen or something like that, or you're hoovering the carpet in the hall or something like that, focus on that. Maybe play a bit of music. Music too is a good soothing for the nerves, for the mind. Relax music mainly, but any music you like at all, something that you like. If you like a different brand, if it's jazz or it's rock, if you're a Finnish person, it's important to have that going too, to calm you down, to reassure you, I suppose, in a way. But to focus on the music, focus on the lyrics, the song you like and stuff like that. And it usually takes your attention away. Obviously focus on what you're doing, of course, but it takes your attention away what can happen tomorrow, and what can happen the next day. It's important that you have things like that, things that you like to do, and along with music, like everybody likes some brand of music or some song, and it's important to have that playing if you're doing something like that, or even something stressful, to have a bit of music in the headphones and stuff like that. I see a lot of young people doing that, but it's good to see, because it relaxes the mind a good bit. It's the only I Love Us One Free. It's a song. It really said that only the music is the best cause, I suppose. Well, music is the best. How would you describe it? It's hard to describe. See, even for me, it's hard to describe different things. But the best cure, I suppose. Well, not the best cure, but the exercise, in my opinion, is the best cure. And I know from experience, I do experience this still to this day. But obviously not as much. But again, you can learn to try and cope with it, because again, it's important. And in some regard, some people can only experience it for a few weeks, something like that. If so much is going on, take for example, if there's a death in the family and stuff, and there's so much happening, it can overload you a bit. But for only Joe's like myself who suffer with anxiety and stuff like that, it can happen on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. It's a never stopping issue basically, but it can be managed. And as I say, the best thing to do is not the first of all, it's not to hide it, not to be afraid to say that you suffer with this, that you worried about what could happen the next day. And when I was at school, because I know I keep talking to myself, but even just for young people, I know even though probably young people nowadays that suffer with this, that you're worried about the next class, you worry about this, you worry about that. I used to have a maths teacher in school, and she was the Antichrist. I hate to say it, but and I dreaded it every day. We had it literally every day. But it was anxiety. It was more than anxiety, I suppose you could say. But it was that dread. You can feel it in your soul. That it's that dread of going in and the fear of it. And the one thing I say to that is not to be afraid. Not to be afraid. These things will pass. These things will go past. Time will fly. Stuff like that. And I know in school it's a lot more difficult to cope with these things, because obviously you don't have your phone, which you probably should. But again, you won't be listening to the teacher, but for music tones and stuff like that. But I do think in that regard and stuff like that, it's important to, as I say, focus on the here and now. Focus on doing what you're doing in front of you. Don't focus about trying to run through it as quick as possible, as I used to do. But as I say, even if you have the last class or something, I used to have the last class Friday, and it was dreadful in first year. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. You get the gist of what I'm saying. Just focus on the here and now. Focus on the good things in school too. If you like a subject, if you like it, it goes with the teachers too. If you like a subject too. If you like a teacher and she's funny and stuff like that, and you have her midway through during the day, focus on that. Focus on something fun, something that you're looking forward to. It's important to focus the mind on something positive. Because, see, as humans, we focus on too much of the negative, and I suppose society nowadays is on the negative majority of things we see in the world. We see wars, we see suffering on an unimaginable scale across the world. And it's important, at the end of the day, we are only human. Not one man can change the boundaries of a nation, I suppose. And it's true. We can't do anything, unfortunately. And it's the sad reality that it is the truth. We can't do anything to save the world, to do this, do that. We only are human. We're only flesh and blood. We can do our best in the world, of course. But the main thing is to look after yourself. Because, that's the main thing to do in life. Is to look after yourself and look after your family and look after your friends. But the most important thing is you. It is you. Regardless of what anybody else is doing, is the most important thing ever. So what I say to people is the best thing is to talk about it. That's the best. That's above all the other things I mentioned about going for a walk, exercise, any kind of exercise at all. Not even just going for a walk. If you go for one jog, if you go to the gym, even, it's good. You see a lot of people going to the gym and stuff. It's a good thing. Like, exercise gets the hormones going, as I was saying. But not even that. If you just talk to your friends, talk to your family, and not to hide, and not to be afraid to say to people that, I suffer with anxiety. I even just say to your principal, your year head, whoever, just to say, I suffer with it. I suffer with this because I'm anxious. And the word is anxious. That you're anxious about going to this class. You're anxious about this in school. You're anxious about day-to-day one in school, and it's okay to say it. I know, and it's okay to be different. It is. Some people will handle it just fine. Some people don't care and stuff like that. And the main thing in life is, of course, to care. You have to care about what you're doing. Life is important. It's a gift. But the main thing is to focus on the here and now, and to be appreciated of the here and now. Because live the moment, as many people would say, and it is important to live the moment, and to take. And to think about the moment and stuff, because it is a gift to be alive and to function, with your arms, with your legs, etc., with your mouth and stuff like that. It's a gift, and it's important. It is important that we acknowledge that and we take pride in that, I suppose, in a way. But the most important thing is just not to be afraid. And that's the most important. Not to be afraid, and to talk, and to just generally talk and say to people, I'm suffering. Because, as I say, a problem shared is a problem halved, and that is the truth. And I know it sounds stupid when you feel like that and stuff. You don't feel that you can talk to somebody, that you can speak, you can say this. I feel this way. But when you mention it, as I say, it's the same with depression and stuff like that. It's not even a weight. It's a ton off your shoulder, off your soul, off your chest, off your heart. And it's important that you do speak. Thank you.